my score. Ed from Pinball Mayhem here, showing you off a new edition, Road Racer. Our new game I got. Actually, it's probably not going to stick around long because I don't have room for it, but before I got rid of it, I wanted to show you a little bit about this game. It is, the dates are kind of confusing. I believe it's 1962. It says 59 to 65 these were made. This is a real automotive steering wheel. Interesting part is you can see the car turns when I turn the wheel. Let me see. And the goal of the game is to keep the car in the right lane, and every third rivet, or every third spot, will give you a point or jump the score. So perfect would be up to 100. That's the best score I've gotten. Cool backglass art. Let's show the cabinet out a little bit. It's a unusual shaped cabinet because of the drum. This one's actually, the paint's not perfect, but it's not that bad. Cabinet's pretty solid. I'm just gonna look into the coin door here. You know, it's 10 cents up there. This is printed right on the hammer tone gray coin door. And got the 10-cent rejector, fairly simple on the inside. That plugs into here. You got a ground, and then the two wires that go through the anti-slam switch and the coin switch. These are in series, so these have to be normally closed. One thing is, when I was looking online, I couldn't find any good troubleshooting information. So I figured I'm going to tell you what I've learned. So here we got these three wires. Now this plug goes up to the control panel. This unit is removable. There's a thumb screw up here, and there's another one there. Now I'm not going to show you actually removing that because you have to take the car off, otherwise you will break it. And I want to show you that. The only thing I'm really missing is the coin box. Pretty standard, 14,000 plays. So on this one, the red wire is your signal that goes to the car. And these three are actually AC. It flashes the lights red, turns off the white light, and turns on a red light every time you get a scoring point. So unplug this plug right now. When it's plugged in and on, you'll get a little bit of zap. Talking from experience. In general, you can see the art on here. This is actually pretty solid. It does have leg leveler feet on the back. So one thing I wanted to point out is the wood around here. To get this glass out, there's two flathead screws on top, and there's a hook on the back. Let me just show you that hook. Here's the hook. And you would rotate that to where it was before, and then this panel you can push up from the inside to take that off. That's how, here's the flathead screws. This comes off. Now what I did is I took this top off, and this was kind of ratty. It always gets weathered, and here's my trick. Sand it with 220 sandpaper, get the top finish off, and then I use something called tung oil, T-U-N-G, and put this on a paper towel. Just after you sand it, you use a tack cloth. Do I still have that here? Yes, I do. Here's a tack cloth. Get all the dust off, and you can put that on. I ended up putting some tape on the glass so I didn't get it on the glass. And just put it on with a paper towel. I did 3 coats, and it looks absolutely wonderful. It's a good repairable finish. So if you ever get a ding or a nick or something, just give a little bit of sanding on it, and just you can put it on. It's an oil. Takes a little bit of, it dries pretty quickly. I did 2 coats one day, did the next coat the next day before I went to work, and when I came home I put it all back together. So that is my trick for any of these EM games with wood, is a little bit of tung oil, 220 sandpaper, and a tack cloth. Not too expensive, and it's something where you don't have to sand it and have the stress of polyurethane, because you don't have to take the old finish off. It will actually meld with it and even out and give you that nice orangey color rather than a polyurethane. If you see someone refinishes these with polyurethane, you get that whiter wood look. It should be a little bit yellow. This way I don't have to take all that old yellow finish off. I just sand it off, get the dirt off it and top, and then tung oil. So that's my trick of the day. So let's continue the tour of the machine. This is pretty interesting. So this is a noisemaker. Makes the wobbling, it's adjustable by that screw of making the sound of the engine running. This is your credit unit. It's a standard stepper. This was really gummed up. It has to be super free. We ended up not able to get the point out, but we just put some ATF on both sides of this, took this all apart, took all these pivots out, cleaned it, and then burnished all the connections. Now here we have our bells. Now the interesting part is if you didn't want the bell or the knocker, you can just pull this scoring as like a score pin or a high score on EM pinball. So your bell, your knocker, got a couple incandescent lights up top. Now the back side now here is the mirror. Got a mirror on this side. Careful, that is a sharp edge. You can cut yourself. I should cut myself on the bottom of that when I lifted it up to clean it. And then you can see the car. It's I actually got the original car. That's another car. So the electronics are fairly simple. We got the motor that runs the drum, the timer motor. This is for the game. Then we got our relays. This plug goes to the rest of the cabinet, and it does carry AC 110. Your transformer, your 2 fuses, I don't know the values, I kind of guessed. I always put a brand new power cord on. Now these 2 relays, this is your run relay. This is going to keep the game going, turning the main motor, fan, loud scoring. That is the start relay. So what happens is when you put a dime in, this energizes, and then it locks that on, and it turns this. Now notice this contact here. This is to keep that energized. Now when this contact hits that divot down there, it will de-energize that run relay, but because this is compressed, it's going to be running the main motor and everything. So when this relay is on, both of these motors run. When this relay is on, only this motor runs. This is like probably a 1 revolutions per minute. I think it's a 1 minute game. It's a synchron gear motor. We've seen those in jukeboxes and other things. So I'm trying to relay all the information I learned about this, and let's talk a little bit about the car. This is the car that came with it. It had this little hole, which, let me get in there, you can see that holds the spring, and it has a big hole. Well, big hole's ripped off. This is a 4 1/4 inch-ish, 1 1/4 inch wide Tootsie car, and it is a Pontiac Star Chief. So I originally heard that these are hard to find the cars for these. I started looking at every red Tootsie car that was this size on eBay, and then I found Star Chief, and I compared it. It's exactly that car. So you guys don't have to search if you watch this video. You need a car, Pontiac Star Chief. Now the thing is what I said, when you pick it up, this presses against this drum. So you should take this car off if you take that control panel out. Otherwise, you will break this car just like that one was. You have to do that by loosening this nut on top. It's a 3/8, and then hand loosening the nut on the bottom, and don't lose the star washer in the middle there. That's pretty much the game. Now, when this flashes, that's our score. Let me show you. And this is our, so this would ding when running, and this one here would operate the knocker. Now, oh yes, the drum. So these rivets, out of every 3, 2 are connected to the knocker. Oh no, this one, which doesn't do anything other than to make a noise. And then the third one's hooked up to the one that flashes the light and gives you a score. And there's a ground braid running in the inside of this drum. One problem this had is no matter, once I cleaned everything up, I cleaned those rivets off carefully to not destroy the drum, and it still didn't score. Well, look here on by the transformer, we got 2 little red wires. Now remember, the thick red wire on the other side is what eventually hooks up to the car. These 2 red wires go back here, and there's 2 little fingers on insulated discs that transmit it to the rotating. Now that disc at one point before I had it actually came loose and spun these wires around the shaft, ripping them off the solder joints. That was it. So how did I get back there to work on it? I'm not going to do it now because the car is in there. There is a wing nut here and a wing nut there. You take those off, carefully tap out the carriage bolts on the outside, and then this whole tray, notice it's kind of in here, will slide out carefully towards you. You can get it, you actually can leave it in the game. You do have to unplug this Jones plug. You can actually leave it in the game. You don't have to take it, put it on a bench, because it will hold here with enough access to service that. And then the drum has its wood sides, but with big round holes. So I was able to get my whole arm and a soldering iron inside that. That's kind of the game in a nutshell. let me try to play a game. I wanted to show you everything that I figured out on this because it is not well documented out there. So I'm going to take a dime and deposit in here. Okay, my score. So that's the game. Let me just show you a little bit. So this is the noise maker. So that makes the noise of the engine running. I think that's really interesting. So that is the game. That is Road Racer, Williams Road Racer, and picked this up, fixed it up, and it's not going to stick around long. I'm going to trade it out, sell it, get another game which I can learn even more about. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out our other videos, other EM and Pinball and Jukebox.